Hi, I'm Mark from Trail Buddy. Today I'm going to go over sprockets, chains. We got a chain breaker and a chain repair kit. So we've getting a lot of questions lately on how gearing works. I want top speed or I want a low end, and how that all goes together. What you got essentially is on your rear hub. You've got the rear. This is an OEM rear sprocket for snap ring style. Same thing goes for bolt or what have you, but and then this is the counter drive sprocket. So this is the one that would be on the motor. So there's two little retention bolts on here. One thing to note about this is we've also got questions about, hey, I go to put this on my engine and it seems a little wiggly yet. Is that how it works? These actually float. These are kind of a self-aligning. So there's a little retention piece that goes on here with two bolts. So that's normal. But what you get is, so the bigger the sprocket you have in the rear, the slower you'll go, and the more torque and bottom end you have. And that also goes, but that's opposite now for the sprocket that goes on the engine. So the bigger the sprocket is on the engine, the faster you'll go. And you can play with this gearing back and forth. There's also OEM gearing that we've got listed on our website, but and these are all 420 chains. Another good thing to note. But another detail is one tooth on the front is pretty much close to like 3 or 4 for the rear. So if you want to make a big adjustment, if you go from like a 15 to a 16 on the front, that'll get you going quite a bit faster, but you also lose a lot of bottom end. Now it depends if you've got a 125cc engine or a 70cc. The bigger the engine, the more broad your horsepower is and your torque range. You can get away with a lot more. But bottom line is, if you're looking for rideability, let's just say on a 125, that's kind of the middle of the road. We usually go probably about 15-36 is usually a really good kind of all-around gear combination. So that gives you kind of an idea. So you get, I want to say probably 45 or so with that without the engine over revving, maybe 50. But that'll give you a good kind of a rule of thumb of where to start. Let's say if you don't know what your gearing needs to be. And we stick with this JT brand. This has been a really good brand for us in terms of wear. Now for the chains, it all depends on what you're doing. You can spend, you can get like a Renthal chain. This is a gold Renthal chain. You can spend a lot of money. This arcade chain is really pretty decent for the money too. And a lot of people like that gold look or the dark. So, but if you want something just bombing around the yard and you don't want to spend a lot of money, this Parts Unlimited chain's a pretty good option. Or the JT, if you got a higher horsepower engine, let's say 125 and up, you're gonna want to stay away from this Parts Unlimited chain because it'll stretch a lot quicker with a higher horsepower engine. Because you gotta remember, these bikes are all designed for 70 cc's, not 125, 190 even now. But a lot of those bigger engines now, you'll go to a 428 chain is what it's called. And what that is that chain's a little bit heavier and it's actually wider. So you can always put a 428 on a 420, but you can never put a 420 on a 428 sprocket combo. Just another little detail note. But then these are the ranges that we have for sprockets, all depending on what you're doing. If you want something a little more cost friendly, or if you want something a little more high end that you know is not going to stretch, but it's not as easy on the wallet. Another tool that we have on our website, which is really nice if you're doing a lot of different if you've got a lot of different bikes on yourself, you can take these chains, you can kind of grind the riveted pins out, but a really nice tool is a chain breaker here. So this crimps onto the chain. So what you do is you back this guy out, it's got a little pin in here, and back that out, grab the chain, and then roll it in. And what this does is this pushes out that coined over little rivet, you'd call it, that's in the chain. Pushes that right through. You do it on both. And this is a really nice little tool that we use this all the time in the shop. This has been a really good one. You can get this one on our website. It's our heavy duty chain breaker. It's just a little over $20, so it's not that bad of an investment. And then also a good little tool to have here is this is our little master repair kit. So this has got a bunch of different combinations. Let's say if you're one link short and let's say you're changing this. This is a nice guy because it'll add a link or two depending on if you start adding more teeth. So when you start adding more teeth and that rear sprocket gets bigger, that means you gotta almost buy another chain all the time because that chain has got to take up more area to go around that bigger diameter. And then vice versa, when you're going with a smaller rear sprocket, you're gonna end up having to cut off a couple links. But I hope that kind of clarifies a little bit about chains and sprockets. Again, we've got all this stuff on our website, Parts Unlimited chain, JT chain, RK, and then we've also got the big Renthal stuff, chain breaker, master repair kit, and then we've got a full length option of sprockets. These are all kind of case hardened, so they last and they wear in really well. You can get these parts or any other parts on mytrailbuddy.com. Thanks.